Life Her Podcast.
Hey, you.
Her is me, her is you. Her is us, her is she, her is we. United we stand, baby, that hurt for keeps. I'm coming and I demand my space, I know it's free. I owe myself the world, they tried to count me out. I've been down some dark roads, they tried to pound me out. From cloudy to sunny, ain't think that I would make it out. I needed positive emotions to fill me out.
Hey ladies, this is Life Her Podcast, where we are here to uplift women and inspire them all over. Sometimes us women find ourselves in this little small place where we need to be more of a butterfly than a caterpillar. So we have here with us today is Brenda Colter, and she has amazing things going on. But during the times of the things that she had going on, she struggled with many things as far as interacting with women of color. So, Brenda, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You hit me with that, hey, girl, hey. That'd be so cute. I love when women say that. I think that's the cutest thing.
It's like the national greeting. Hey,
Yeah, it is. So, tell me a little bit about your experience dealing with women of color, and as far as you have a best friend, which is Caucasian.
My tough experiences with Black women really started when I was really young. I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood, but we kind of had not a lot of money, so I was just a hot mess. I was angry all the time, so we kind of never related well when I was younger. So as I grew older, I kind of gravitated towards the white kids because I grew up, while I lived in a Black neighborhood, we were bused to a predominantly white school. So even like in elementary school, my best friend was white. When I got to middle school, my best friend was white. So that's always kind of been the case. And it was probably my own personal blockages starting from really young. But then as I grew older and I started to heal from the things of my past, I started to see that my relationships with Black women were just broken. Like it seemed like there was always either competition or some sort of underlying anger, even to where it just never really lasted very long. And I'm sure there may have been cases before I came to my healing place where maybe I was the cause of it, but even after, once I started to heal, it's just very difficult for me. And I feel like having my Caucasian white friend, and she has never been judgmental. We've never had an argument. We've never had an issue. We've disagreed. But it's never come to the point where it was like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm like 35 years old and I have adult Black women going, oh, well, I don't think we can be cool anymore. Like, because we disagreed? I don't understand that. So, I think that really was the basis of it. It seems like it's so easy to walk away from a disagreement or argument or things being difficult with the Black women that I've known and grown to associate with.
Right.
And for her, that wasn't an issue, and it hasn't been an issue for myself with any of the white friends that I've had.
Wow. So what is one of the worst experiences that you've had with women of color?
A few of my very best friends slept with my husband.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you said a few.
Yes.
So your husband slept with more?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
So let me tell you. So when I met my husband, we were kind of all part of the same crew. There were like 12 or 13 of us that we all hung around, men, women. Everybody was Black in that crew. We all hung around, and he was just like an amazing spirit to me. Like he would kind of be off to the side. He really, so he reminded me of myself, because I was, again, always a little bit of a loner, kind of sitting off to the side. I could have fun, but it wasn't rare for you to notice me kind of sitting off in the corner by myself.
Right.
And we started conversing one day because we had never really talked much to one another, and we developed a relationship. And we were together for about 5 or 6 years and decided to get married.
Wow.
And it was like a Lifetime movie. The day after we got married, literally the day after we got married, he turned into a totally different person. Like, he started being abusive, and he started he drank excessively. So, well, we both drank excessively, if I'm honest. But he would turn into a different person when he drank, a completely different person, which would then make me turn into a different person. So it's a very toxic marriage.
Okay.
That ended up being toxic, but it was born from a beautiful relationship. And it wasn't until after I finally let go. He was abusive and actually broke my jaw once.
Wow.
And it was after that I said, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out. I should probably leave. We actually stayed together about a year after that. And then we got divorced. And it was after that I found out that he had slept with several of my friends.
Several.
3,
Jesus.
to be exact.
I mean, the one is enough.
He slept with 3 of
The
them.
one is already a problem, but dang, like several?
Yes.
So you guys were together so many years before that, and then I'm still puzzled by him changing after us being together for so long, and like, okay, we're married now, so I'm gonna turn into this individual that you never met before. And
that was one of the things I would ask him frequently, like, who are you? Like, what was it about me?
That's why I was like, what created him to change after that? Did you find yourself changing too?
Changing for the better. So I do think that there were some insecurities that came to play in his life because, I mean, who are you to be trying to better yourself? And this is where we are. This is who we are.
Oh, okay.
Because we weren't in a really great place in life to start out. And I was slowly and gradually. But again, all of that was happening during the relationship. For him to turn on a dime, I mean, I cannot. It was literally the day after we got married because we didn't go on a honeymoon or anything like that. The very next day, he actually called me out of my name, which oddly enough, now that I'm talking, I'm like, wait a minute, girl, what was going on? But it wasn't really rare for him to do that, but there was so much anger in it, and it was during an argument. So I'm like, wait a minute, where did that come from? You've never expressed that type of anger before. It just hit my ear a little bit different than it had ever in the past.
So how long did it take him to start these for him to act out like that and start calling you out of your name?
We drank excessively, so it wasn't really rare for us to have those type of altercations, but it was rare for him to have such rage behind it. Like, it was clear that this time it was something a little bit different about it, and that was the first time that he actually put his hands on me. So I was like, this different than the previous times. And that's when I don't know, I actually just tried to make it work. I'm like,
so have you guys always drank a lot?
That's basically what our relationship was built on. Like,
we just link up and let's go get some
right.
drinks.
We just link up and let's drink and let's kick it. Like I said, our whole crew, we would go to like one of our houses and we would just drink incessantly all weekend long. I was always a worker, so I would always, you know what I mean, go to work during the week, but on the weekends it was open season.
Okay.
So I mean, that's basically how our crew kicked it. That's how we partied back then.
Okay, got you. So it took him 6 months, a year for him to actually just like, okay, I'm putting my hands on her.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that was the day after the day after we got married. That was our first physical. Yes, that was our first physical altercation.
Jesus.
And I'm like, it's too late now. We done already got married. Like it wasn't even oh my God, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'll never do it again. And no, it was like, well, shut up next time. Like,
so you just end up after how long were you guys married?
We were married 3 years, but we were only together 1 after we got married. Okay. So we were together for a whole nother year. We separated, and then we got divorced 2 years later.
Wow. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry you went through something like that.
Oh, it was rough. It was a rough time.
So, like, during a phase, like, a lot of women don't get out when it first happened.
Right.
So, when it continuously happened, what made you continuously stay? Did you think he was going to change? Things would get better?
I don't even think I was concerned with that with so much as I was with I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't want people to be like, why did you marry him in the first place? And you know what I mean? I just didn't know. I'm like, did they see something that I didn't see? And of course, true to form, after we got a divorce, people were like, I'm so glad you divorced him, girl. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So did you ever express to anyone that he did that to you?
Oh, it was known. It was well known. Everybody knew that.
So no one tried to encourage you, uplift you, tell you don't deserve that?
I didn't even know that was a thing. No, that had not happened throughout my whole entire life. That's never been, do you know what I mean? That's never been the way of things. Like from my mother on, the women in my life have always been like, you're going to have to figure that out. Cause I don't know what that is that you got, but you need to, you know what I mean? So it's like always kind of isolated and feeling a little bit different. So I didn't even know. So no, nobody in my life had done that up until that point.
Wow. So it's like basically you're battling something on your own and you have to think for yourself.
Right.
For you to do that. And then on top of that, a lot of people walk through life worried about how a next person will feel about your decision you made in your life. And I think a lot of people get confused with that. And you have to understand that it's not about what another person thinks. Like, girl, listen. Get your shit together.
Right.
This about you. It ain't about nobody else. Don't nobody care about all that. But I think a lot of us women need to start learning about ourselves. Love ourselves more enough to get out of a situation when we know it ain't right. All of us got a form of common sense.
Yes.
We know if a man hits you, okay, no, that's not right. You know, like, dang, this don't feel right. I think it's to a point where we need to start feeling love more than anything. However, do you find yourself, of you being divorced now and everything, have you ever ran into a nice guy?
Oh, yeah. I've met nice guys. I've met nice guys who weren't necessarily for me, but yeah, I've met some nice guys, so I know more what that looks like.
The key word you said, a nice guy, not necessarily for you.
Right.
So sometimes as women, we pick and choose who we want. And it could be to a point where this man is everything that we want in a man on how they treat us. Yet I'm not attracted to him, or he just not for me, or he corny, he a lame.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of issue.
Yeah, but you know,
but I do know what.
Some
women
do that, but it's like it's a lot of good men. I don't want to discredit no man.
Oh, I agree.
Not saying he's not a good man. It's a lot of good men out here that will give women the world.
Yes.
But sometimes when he's too good, they don't want him. They rather take the bad guy.
I think I went through a period in my life where that definitely was like, I'm like, no, I need it. I'm like, oh no, I need me a, you know what I'm saying, a this, that, or the other.
Okay.
But not like in the 5 years, I took 5 years to just stay single.
That's good.
After I left my husband, I actually found myself immediately in another relationship with a guy. A nice guy who was not so bad. I still don't think that he was for me, but he was a really nice guy, and it probably could have been something. We just really didn't have that kind of chemistry. So
the chemistry matters too.
Yes, and we didn't really have it. So when we broke up, I took 5 years, and I was like, listen, I need to find me. I don't know who I am. Like, I've literally been miserable all my life. When you talk about not knowing how to love ourselves, at that point, I didn't even know what love was at all. I had convinced myself that there was no such thing as love. I used to tell people, no such thing as love. The best that you can hope is to be content. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, because sometimes if you think about it, I was listening to you. You were saying you've been with this guy for so long and then y'all got married. But it seemed like was more of y'all connections because y'all had a lot of friends together. Like, okay, we got all these friends together. We cool. All right, we drink. We go out, have kicked it.
Let's get married.
That's basically what it sounds like. It's like, okay, we already comfortable with each other. We know what it is.
Right.
We're in the same circles, the same people. Okay, the only thing we can do is get married.
Right.
But you skipped all of the things on a personal level on how to make you feel, and you probably never noticed who he really was besides doing that.
What I've learned since then is I didn't even know what to look for. I didn't even know what I was supposed to be looking for. What you meet a man, he's nice to you. Oh, he's nice to me. Okay, fine. Well, maybe this man is supposed to be my husband. And I thought that I loved him very much. He was a very good friend to me during some very rough times. But as we know, you have to decide exactly where people belong in your life. Just because you have feelings for somebody doesn't mean that you're supposed to be with them, or that's supposed to be your husband or anything of that nature. He was supposed to be a good friend, and that's what he was, and I should not have ever allowed it to become more. But we were in a relationship, and he was actually the one who was kind of like, well, either we're going to get married or we're going to let it go. Like, you're going to have to marry me. And I'm like, I didn't even know if I wanted to get married.
Oh, Lord.
I'm telling you, I knew exactly how damaged I was. I just didn't know what to do about it.
Right.
I'm like,
and a lot of us don't know what to do because we don't have that form of guidance.
Right.
And then sometimes down the line of our family history, other women in our family have done the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we are what we saw.
Yes.
Growing up, and then we become that. But a lot of them don't know that triggers down generation after generation. It
does, and that is kind of why I do what I do, because like you said, it wasn't just my mom. Like, I'm a PK. My father was a pastor, but he was very and I'm always careful when I talk about my parents. I love them both with my dear heart, and I know that they did the best that they could.
Yeah.
But he was very detached. He wasn't around. Him and my mom were from like totally different worlds. She was like the hood chick. He was the pastor, and we kind of conflicted with who he felt like he was supposed to be. So he was very detached. So when you come from a place that the two people who are supposed to love you above all else in this world, you feel like they don't care about you, then I'm like, ain't nobody ever gonna care about me. That's not what life is supposed to be.
But they were hurting too.
Right.
They were in a different place too. Yeah, and we don't know that until we get older. Once we come to our senses, or some of us will just keep dragging it and not realizing it, and then we affecting our own personal lives.
Yes.
And we just need to snap back and get ourselves together.
But it's so hard. And once you learn, like, I never knew that you have to question what you think. Like, nothing that you probably think on a regular basis is actually true. We're so indoctrinated with information. People really don't educate us and then allow us to make our minds up on our own. They just drill us with information and go, believe this, think this is what it is. And it was the day that I learned, like, you can question what it is that you're thinking, and not only can you question it, but you can change your thoughts to create better outcomes.
The power of yourself.
Yes. I'm like, there's so much power inside of us to be able to decide to kind of change that thought on a dime. Let me figure this out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, oh, well, you just want to be positive. Like, no, I just want to be realistic, because most of the stuff that I'm telling myself that's negative isn't true anyway. So I'm trying to find my realistic voice inside of me. We gotta catch
a lot of issues and problems amongst ourselves.
Yes.
My growth actually come from my girls program.
Ooh.
That's where I started to grow up at, and I started to notice how toxic I was, the bad habits I had, just different stuff. I started to notice who I was when I started that program, and as years progressed, I grew up. It was like I'm helping them, but they're helping me too. And I'm like, dang, I was really jacked up.
Right.
You know, I need to get my mental together. So it made me grow and transform into a better woman. It's and then, you know, they was looking up to me. So I'm like, I got these girls looking up to me. I can't contradict myself. I can't tell them to do one thing and I'm doing another. Right. So it really helps, and that's like you in the field of helping others too.
Right.
So it's like we gotta really mean what we say.
Yes, we have to pay that and pay it forward and make it like I can't be looking all crazy over here.
Yes.
And for a while I was hesitant to tell my story because I'm like, I'm a coach, I'm an emotional wellness coach, and I didn't realize there was a word from God one day like, your testimony is your greatest victory. That's what's going to make these women want to talk to you.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Instead of being ashamed and caring what other people think, you can help that next woman in so many ways that you can imagine. If you're helping one woman, that's fine. All the other 10, 15, or whatever, they may talk bad about you, but that's their problem.
Right.
That means they got some issues they still battling. So we got to learn people's issues.
Right. And as people, we have to learn our own. That's why, like, the first part of my program, and I've been working with another group about it, is self-awareness. I was reading an article that said that 95% of the people in the world believe that they're self-aware, and only 12 to 15% of people actually are. If you don't know yourself, it's very hard to maintain sensible relational connections, whether it be romantic relationships, friendships, kinships, whatever kind of ships you're going to have. You have to know yourself first, because that's how you develop that self-love, to know yourself.
From knowing the fact that you come from a abusive marriage and then you growing into figure out who yourself was, do you ever like backtrack like, dang, I come a long way, I was so jacked up, man. That's how you be like, dang, what's wrong with you? You know, sometimes we be feeling that way like, oh my God.
Yes, absolutely. And I look back, last year I wrote a book, and it's really more of a how-to manual where I introduce people to the model that I teach. But there are like little snippets of stories in there about my life and things that I experienced, and that was super eye-opening to kind of walk from childhood to like now. And I was like, girl, Jesus, like, if nobody believes that there is a God, then you are definite proof that there is one.
Definitely.
I was, from childhood, like I said, it was really rough. Like,
so
any kind of statistic you can come up with.
So with your ex-husband, have you seen him since then?
I did, and let me tell you. So this is when I was still growing. So it's a real petty moment. So when I moved to North Carolina for 2 years. That was part of my seeking myself.
Okay.
And I came back, and the weekend that I came back, I saw him in a grocery store. He still had on clothes that I had bought him. He was still using the cell phone that I had bought him. And like, I was all dressed up on my way to a date. So I completely ignored him like he wasn't even standing there. But I made sure I was seen. And so he kind of went back and told a mutual friend of ours, like, yeah, tell her to hit me up. Like, boy, gets...
Girl, listen.
I was like, the audacity.
Like,
like,
that toxic mess.
And of course, we still have mutual friends. I say that, use that term loosely, but we do have mutual friends still. And from what I understand, he's still the same way now as he was before.
I mean, of course. You know, sometimes that happens. So, what created him to break your jaw?
We have been drinking. And it was just like an argument. That was the worst thing he done. Like, I still got like plenty of like other bruises and like things that he did during the times where he was most violent. But again, I think part of my issue was that I had came from a place where I used to fight too. So I'm like, you ain't just about to like, yeah, just gonna beat me up though. Like, we are going to like wreck this thing out. So I mean, there were times because of the nature of that relationship where I felt like if you can hit me when I say something you don't like, then I can hit you when you say something that I don't like.
So I mean, each other.
Right. So it was he was a man, so you know what I mean. So I probably should have sat my butt down somewhere and walked away.
Woman ain't supposed to be hitting no man.
Exactly.
Either.
Right.
So you need to sit your butt down too.
Right. It was a mess. Like, that was by far. But I learned more in that relationship than I ever, like, I understand now the reason for it. I learned so many things in that relationship about myself.
Right.
Like, it came to a point where it wasn't even about him. And I quit asking those questions. Like, why did you feel the need to start hitting on me the way that you did? Why did you need to do this? Why did you need to do that? And I started asking myself, like, why did you allow him to do that? Why were you comfortable in that situation? Why didn't you walk away? And not in an accusatory or judgmental type of way, but just to get curious about myself and figure out what exactly I needed to make changes about.
Okay. So from you experiencing that, let's just play back onto your childhood. How was your childhood?
My childhood was not great. I wouldn't say it was awful. I definitely know people with worse childhoods. I would definitely preface it with that. But like I said, my father was pretty detached. I had his mother in my life though, who was like my guardian angel now. She was, and that was my release. I would get away to go to her house. Okay. Because we lived West Akron. It was not a unknown thing for us to have like our house shot up. My mom dated nothing but drug dealers. And they were not like nickel and dime street hustling drug dealers. They were very, you know what I mean, big time known drug dealers around the city. So our house used to get shot up all the time, and it was just toxic in that sense. And also, again, me and my mom are very close right now. So it's usually a little bit tough for me to talk about this stuff because I don't want her to think that I'm saying anything negative against her. Right. But she just didn't like me for whatever reason. And she used to tell me that she didn't like me. I don't believe that she did, and I believe she had her own stuff going on inside. Yeah. Right. But she always favored my brother and my sister. So while she was dating these drug dealers, there were times to where, like I said, there were the drive-by shootings, and there was all of that stuff, and then we would have like all of this money, but I was never seeing the fruits of that. Like, I was going to school and like broke down shoes, and she wasn't buying me clothes, and she wasn't doing that kind of stuff, but she was like dressing my brother and my sister up for whatever reason that was. And then there came a point to where she did stop dating those guys. So when she stopped dating those guys, it became like a poverty situation. We no longer had this money that didn't really make me a difference anyway, because she wasn't dressing me like we did. But then she kind of started going out more and being out. So I had to raise my brother and my sister. And there would be times where there wasn't any food in the house. Like, we didn't have anything to eat in the house. So I'm scrounging stuff together, trying to figure out, what are we going to eat? How are we going to eat? And I had this boy cousin. He's like, I call him my brother because he was like an only child, and he could have went home and ate. He could have did whatever he wanted to do, but he actually started selling drugs to be able to feed us. Wow. So he had a perfectly good life at home, and he could have went home and been like, hey, I'll be over on the weekend and I'll bring some sandwiches when I come. But he wanted to be with us, and me and him were just really close, and he started selling drugs, and he started taking care of us. So when we did eat, it was because he bought food.
So where was your dad?
Like I said, we kind of conflicted with his image.
Okay.
He was pretty popular, like, around the city. He's since passed away, but he was pretty popular around the city. And again, I don't know if this is the reason that he was so standoffish. This is the, you know what I'm saying, this is the young girl inside me talking, because I can't think of any other reason why. But he was never really involved, and I don't know what it was between him and my mother. But there was always clearly something there that made him uncomfortable. So he was never around. I don't even know if the day that he died, he knew everything that I went through.
Wow. That's terrible. So with your mom doing that, have you ever asked your mom why did she do what she did?
No, my mommy's an ostrich. Like, she don't, like, after she came to her awakening and she kind of became a totally different person. It's so funny, like, me and my sisters, we talk about how she'll say stuff like, girl, because I ain't never let y'all eat candy. And we like, girl, you don't know what we ate. Like, you were not there. You don't know what we... But so she created a whole other persona of what, you know what I mean, childhood was for her. And before we got close, I kind of would always want to butt heads. That didn't happen. That's not what happened. No, it didn't. And it just created friction between us. Yeah. And after a while, I was like, you know what? That doesn't even matter anymore. And I'm not about to start going. Right. We're just going to move forward. Moments. So we've never talked about it. And I don't even need to anymore. Like, I don't really need to know why anymore.
With that.
She's like one of my closest friends. It's like my spiritual advisor. Because when she had her awakening, I don't know what happened, but she literally became a new person.
And that, I be like, I don't know. It's just sometimes parents really don't tell us too much.
Right.
And they just leave it alone. But I think sometimes hearing a parent's testimony after you become so grown and mentally grown and can handle what they tell you, I think it'll be great for a parent to actually share their life with you in so many ways. So it can motivate you and help you understand them more. Because sometimes we don't know the things that our parents went through during their childhood and when they become adults and all these different things. We just don't know until y'all tell us. Like, dang.
I've made it my business to be very open with my children. I have some people who are like, you tell your kids too much. Like, you need to. And I'm like, my kids know everything I've endured, everything that I've been through, and we still talk about it. Sometimes they have questions, and I'm like, you know what I mean? But they know everything about me. That's because good. I'm like, if I'm going to be doing this, I don't want anybody else to be able to come back and tell them anything about their mom that they don't know. And I want them to know that if they have questions, they can ask it. Like, I got pregnant at 15, or I got pregnant at 14. I had my first son at 15. And that's something that you have to explain to your children, like, why you have your mom? What happened? You know what I mean? So to be able to explain that to them was very important to me. So they wouldn't make the same mistake. And so that if anything happened in their lives that could lead to something like that, they would feel comfortable opening up to me about it.
So what led you to start being sexually active at a young age, and then you end up becoming pregnant?
When I was very young, I was molested on a fairly regular basis by a close family member. That's something that not a lot of people know, and nobody knows who it is. But also, when I was 11, I got raped at a friend of mine's house. And this is such a crazy story, but I was at my friend's house, and her older sister was dating my uncle. And my uncle was a bit of a stalker. So apparently, he was looking through the window trying to see what she was doing and watched this happen. Instead of coming in, breaking in, and saying something to me, instead of saying something to the guy, I was 11 at the time, he went and told my mom. So when I got to my mom, she was like, this is what you get, your little fast ass running around here, and you, like, nobody ever asked me what happened.
What happened?
And I was like, even if I would have heard my 11-year-old daughter was, quote unquote, voluntarily having sex, there would still be a conversation that needed to happen. What was that you were doing? Where did you get it from? She just went way left and kind of basically called me a rat, even though that wasn't a word back then. But she just kind of went off, and in that moment, something snapped, and I didn't tell my mom until I was 18 what really happened in that moment.
So the moment that your uncle had saw a man on you, he was raping you?
Yes.
And they just went all the way left just thinking you having sexual intercourse?
Yes, at 11.
At 11.
Yes.
Okay.
So, from that point on, it became kind of, well, people think I'm doing it anyway, and if they gonna give me money, and if, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it became, that was my form of fitting in. That was my form of, so I became very promiscuous. Like, not at 11, after that point in time, I would say probably about 12, that very next year, I just became promiscuous because I didn't know that there was a such thing as saying no.
So how did you feel after that moment of that man raping you like that? Because you said you became a different young lady at 12. So during your whole year of you being 11 years old, what was your experience? What was your mindset like?
I was completely depressed. I was, you know what I'm saying? I kind of spent time away from my friends. I wasn't hanging out as much. I just felt dirty. Like, no matter what, I felt dirty. Like, I couldn't get clean. I spent a lot of time in the bathroom, a lot of time in the bathtub, a lot of time just trying to wash the dirt off. I'm like, I feel so dirty. Like, this is horrible. And I think that this changed when I did turn 12, and I got tired of feeling that way. And I'm like, I have to figure out how to feel better. So that became a way to feel better. It became willing, because I'm like, if they gonna take it anyway, if I say no, then I might as well just go ahead and give it up and get whatever I can get from it. That was my mindset at that age. And I was just transformed. Like, from that moment on, I was just, and even now, like, I've gone to therapy. I've, like, done all of that kind of stuff. I have problems with my memory. Like, my memory, some stuff I can't remember, so I have to write things down. And during therapy, I learned that she was like, you have conditioned your brain to forget so much that now your brain doesn't know what to remember and what to forget. So you have to be very careful about not remembering certain things and how you remember certain things and what you remember about certain things, because basically you've taught your brain to trick your thoughts.
Yeah, and you taught that during that moment at that time, because, okay, my uncle saw it. He thought I was just actually having sex, and then he tells my mom, and then my mom react this way. It's like, who else do you go to? Right. These are the two main important people in your life that's supposed to protect you, and then a thought process is that. So you already trained yourself to have that mindset. So once you hit 12 years old, that's when you started having sex with boys. So when did your molestation come in at?
The molestation was before the rape.
Oh,
so the molestation, I was probably like 6 or 7, probably 6 or 7 when my family member was doing that. And that wasn't any, not to justify it, of course, but that wasn't, there was no intercourse. Like, there was like the inappropriate touching and like pulling my pants out and like doing all of that kind of things. And he wasn't an adult. He was like a teen, you know what I'm saying? He was like a teenager.
So if he's young and he's experiencing that,
Right.
Someone's been doing that with him.
Right. And I've even talked about this in other settings, and people are like, how are you? And even when I was 11, that guy, he wasn't an adult. He's probably like 16 or 17 or something like that. So I'm like, I don't know. Of course, 16 or 17 is a little bit older enough to know
but
better.
He knows
but I'm like,
better,
I don't know what his experience was.
Someone may have, came on to him because women molest children too.
Absolutely.
At a young age, so they think it's okay. So during all these times of you just going through all that, what you end up meeting a boy, and y'all was boyfriend and girlfriend, and you got pregnant at a young age. I did meet a boy. I don't think I was ever like, this sounds so horrible. I can't believe how young I was, but I don't think we were ever really boyfriend and girlfriend. We kind of just hung out. Mm-hmm. And he became like the one person who, I know I liked him. Yeah.
And we would have sex, and I ended up being pregnant by him. And my mom was basically like, okay, so you can have an abortion or you can get out. And I was like, I'm not getting an abortion, so I'm going to leave. Wow. And when I left, I actually have an older sister who was adopted. Mm-hmm. So her and I got a place together, and my mom sent my brother and sister to live with us. And
you was how old?
16.
So so your brother and sister, you and your other oldest adopted sister, y'all all staying together.
Yes.
Jesus.
And like I said, my older sister is like one of my best friends. Like she just, you know what I'm saying? We were so close at the time, but she had her own children, so she had her own life. So eventually she was like, listen, boo, you gonna have to go. As soon as I turn 18, she was like, baby, you got to go sign up for MHA or something.
Yeah, she went on things. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? My cousins probably do that too. All these kids up in here and all that.
Like,
but it's just the fact that you had to leave your mother's home, and then she sent your siblings with y'all.
And there were times, because of course we were really not old enough to function in this world on our own. So there were times we would go back to my mom's house for a few months, and then you know what I'm saying. Cool. You know what I mean. But for the most part, we just found different places.
So what about the father? Did you tell him you were pregnant at that time? So what was his reaction? He's young too.
Right.
So.
He's always been useless. He's a nice person though,
Jesus.
but he's always been useless.
Jesus.
He cool though.
Jesus.
So once I did move out, it was me, my son, and my brother and sister. It was like I got 3 kids at 18.
Yeah.
Turned around and got pregnant again at 19.
Did you?
Yes.
How did that father end up turning out to be?
He was actually good. He was a good guy. I ended up having 2 daughters with him, and we lived together. You know what I'm saying? We stayed together. He wasn't perfect, of course. He was a cheater and all that good stuff. But he's always been an active father.
That's all that
matters,
yes.
Right? That's all that matters at the end of the day. Very active, and so him and my girls are good. So
okay, that's good. That's good. So you guys never thought about marriage or anything when y'all was together?
Sure.
But due to him being out there, cheating and
that
everything,
just never really panned out.
Got you. I understand. So, as you growing, you have your 2 daughters, your son, and everything. What was your life goals? What were your plans?
I did not have any at that point. I was so broken is the only word that I was literally just muddling through life. By that time I had a couple stints in a mental institution. I had, them 72-hour holds where you might not know, but I've been on those a couple of times. Ended up being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Wow. So they had me on all kinds of medication and all kinds of stuff. And it was my girl's dad who was like, listen, you have to stop taking this stuff because you're like a zombie walking around here. Mm-hmm. We have to figure out exactly what it is that's wrong with you and figure out a way to, you know what I'm saying, to do this without any meds, because these are not working for you. Yeah, my daughter's dad.
Bless their heart.
No, well, their dad, they were too young. They were so young. I was still 19 at the time, 19 or 20.
Your daughter's dad.
So he was like, we have to figure out exactly what's going on because you can't keep living like this. I was just muddling through. I was not okay at all.
You had a lot of trauma in your life.
Right.
And this is what people go through on a day-to-day basis when a lot of people is not there to tell them what direction to go to.
Right.
All they know is survival.
That's the word.
Surviving.
Lost. I was lost. I didn't know what direction.
It's like, okay, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta keep going, but I don't know where I'm going. But I'm going. So a lot of people don't know therapy is there.
Right.
You know,
like go.
Then like seriously, therapy is there, but if you don't have the love surrounding you on an everyday basis when you want to see a therapist, just once a week or once a month or however you can afford it.
Oh, I was
and all that.
I was agoraphobic for about a year and a half. Like I could not physically walk out of my house. It created too much panic, too much anxiety, too much I can't do this. So I was very isolated. And even now I'm a little more introverted. It's a little in a healthy way. But back then, I literally could not walk out of the house. It would cause panic attacks. It would create issues. So I spent times where before grocery delivery was a thing, thank God for like these little close-knit communities. Because we had like a corner store on the corner. Right. And he would come and bring me my groceries and like take my food stamp card. Like I'm going to just take off what you want for the groceries and bring it back. So he was
so you was just a straight shell.
Oh, I was a shell of a person.
How long were you like this?
Probably about 2 years.
Wow.
And then one day I was like, this isn't working. And I decided to go get my GED.
Okay.
And I was like, because I know plenty of people who have kids and finish high school, but I had found out that my mom was offered daycare and chose not to take it for whatever reason. So I never finished high school. And I was like a straight A student. I was a really good student as far as grades and things.
Right, because you didn't mention on air, but you mentioned to me that you went to a good school and everything.
So I went and got my GED. And from there, I just knew I had to do better. I was like, I can't keep living like this. So I really didn't have a direction at all. I just knew that anything was better than what I was doing then. So I went and got my GED. I started at the University of Akron.
Okay.
I ended up getting a journalism degree that I've never done anything with, but I went. And I like worked and went to school, and it was not a big deal to see me and my kids, like 2 kids in a stroller, 1 kid walking. Like I started to live. You know what I mean?
That's what
like
I say. You wanting better for yourself.
Oh yeah. I didn't know what better was, and I didn't know what it looked like. But I'm like, this is not it. Like this can't be life. And I remember I was in the after I attempted suicide a couple of times, which was what resulted in the stays in the institutions. And I just kept saying, like, I'm just tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm too young to be this tired. And the therapist said, in all of this time, you keep saying that you're tired. I haven't heard you say one time that you want to die. And I said I don't want to be here anymore. And she was like, so do you not want to live, or do you just not want to live like this anymore?
That's a big difference.
And I just started crying, like, I can't live like this no more.
But start saying it the right way. Ain't that something?
But that was the chain that broke. Yeah. Like that was the chain. I'm like, she is right. Like I don't want to die. Like who gonna take care of my kids?
Yeah, seriously.
I tell my kids all the time, like, y'all are the reason that I'm still here, because that's what my mindset went to. Who's gonna take care of my kids? I didn't want to leave them with my mom at that time. She was still struggling with whatever she was struggling with, and I was like, I'm not gonna leave them with my mom. So I have to figure out exactly how to make this work for them.
Wow.
I still went on to have another kid, but
Lord Jesus.
When I was 24, in the midst of all of this going to school, but
Did you have kids with your husband?
No.
You didn't? Okay.
And I thank God for that every day.
Jesus.
I do. But in a good way. But no. Because I'm like, could you imagine like having to be in contact with him? Like I was so traumatized by him.
Yeah,
I was
that's what
like,
I'm saying. Like it's like you already dealt with so much trauma starting at a young age. Coming from in so many directions.
Listen.
And I mean, like, the community direction, the family direction, the friend direction. It's like everything is like, okay, so where else am I going to go?
Right. I tell people all the time, name a statistic. I was that. Name another one. I was that. Like,
so it was too much. I mean, it's a lot. It really is a lot. So who is Brenda today?
Brenda is I'm probably one of the most happy and goofy people that I know today. I don't know. I just feel good about everything about life and where my life is going right now. Mm-hmm. So most people are just like author, motivational teacher, because I don't like saying motivational speaker, because I want people to walk away with new information to learn stuff that they can apply to their lives every day. And just life and business coach. I just want to teach people that there is a way to overcome through simply just changing your mindset. Like everything that you need to overcome anything that you've been through is already down inside you. Mm-hmm. And it sounds so cliche. You hear people say that, but like, I'm going to show you that you can do it. So my motto is that pain only lasts so long before it manifests into magnificence.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm like, let's manifest your pain. Let's take your pain and manifest it into magnificence, because it's there for a reason. So I find my pleasure in just kind of walking people through that process and to watch their brains change slowly but surely.
That's good. I think what is very inspiring about this is the fact that a lot of people will want to help people that never been through nothing, in a sense, but at the same time, people need to realize a lot of people have been through things, but just not exactly what you've been through. But the way you are speaking life into people, you could speak at all directions,
right,
of so many things, to a point where you are that hope, you are that inspiring message for a woman. Like, okay, I've been through this and that with you, but I haven't been through that. However, if you got through all of this, I know it's a possibility for me. So you giving women a possibility, and that is very good. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I'm telling you, I still like blush a little bit when people say that. Like, I don't know what to say, but no,
because it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of things as far as getting through pain. Pain carries, and pain is like you walking with a humpback.
Yes.
Like it'll keep you all the way down, but a lot of people don't know during that pain you hurting people around you too, and they swear up and down everything they do and say is right.
Right.
And you're the wrong person. But sometimes after so long, if everybody is saying the same thing about you, you gotta start analyzing that.
That like, right there.
Yeah, like what am I doing wrong? What am I going to change about me to make everyone else feel comfortable around me?
And that's what's so uncomfortable. Like I said, like at one point in my book, I said it's very difficult when you have to look in the mirror and realize that you don't like what's looking back at you. Like, you are the problem. You're staring at the thing that's the reason for everything that's wrong in your life, and you have to take accountability for that.
Yes.
But not in a bad way. That's why my whole big thing is I'm always like, be curious. Don't be judgmental. Stop judging yourself. It's enough people in this world who are going to judge you. Please believe.
Oh, yeah.
But just be curious.
But that's their personal problem.
Exactly.
Or something they got to get through, and it ain't got nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing. So, and that's how I be feeling when people be feeling some kind of way about things, having these attitudes, mood swings, and all that. But shit, that ain't my problem. That's yours.
Right.
It's just, you have to, I've reached the part of my life where another person's issues, I'm not letting them be mine.
Right, and
I'm not letting it define me at all.
I think that was tough for me for so long, because it was like, I wanted to go, hey, y'all, look, guess what? I changed. Look at me. I changed. I'm not that person anymore. Y'all, look.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that don't matter.
Yeah,
like, I don't care.
Like, who gives a damn?
Right? Like, people don't
it's
care.
just like, it be to the point, like, let your actions speak louder.
Yes.
And that's just where I'm at. It's just like every day I'm happy that I'm walking in my path.
Yes. And it's beautiful. It's a great feeling. It's the best feeling.
Peaceful. It's very peaceful when you check yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I check myself a lot.
I was about to say probably daily, but I have to check in with myself, like, and figure out, okay, what was that? Even if now I'm to the point to where if I have a fleeting feeling that I'm not comfortable with, like, ooh, that was a little judgmental. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
I go inside myself like, why are you judging her for that? And usually, almost every time, there's a little piece of me inside that reminds me of whatever it is that I'm judging other people.
And you gotta be careful, even when you're having conversations with people. like someone could say off a bad experience they had with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean feed into their bad experience and say bad things too.
Ooh, right.
So what you do is transition it into something positive and you move on.
Yes.
Be like, okay, they did that. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's on them. All right, let's talk about this. You
Right.
know, you could transform a conversation into something so positive in so many ways and not creating it to be so negative. Just transform that person's mind real smooth.
But to even go back to that, now that I think about it, kind of going back to the beginning, I'm not even sure if the issue that I have with black women have been with black women in general. It's this circle of black women who, like you said, everybody has something to say about somebody, and when I'm the one who's sitting there kind of going, I don't know her well enough to say anything, and they're like, but don't you think? And I'm like, I really don't know her well enough to have anything to say. And then they like, she acting funny. Like, why do you?
But it's
it
not
becomes
you acting
that.
funny, but you can't say nothing. But even if you do know that woman,
It's still
even
not my
if you
place.
see that woman, it still don't have nothing to do with you.
Plus, my mind is different. I'm trying to figure out how I can help her. I usually look at people now, even in their anger and frustration. Like I was telling you kind of before we even got started, when I was like, what am I going to do about this? How can I do it? And God was like, you have all of the tools to help. All of these women who you're talking about have attitudes or you're struggling with relationships with, you know why they have relationship issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know why they are struggling. Help them. Go help them. And show them what you did to be able to overcome that. And that's what, when I see something broken inside somebody, and whether that manifests in anger or whatever, I always want to go, geez, I wonder where she hurting at. Like, how can I help her with that?
So, speaking of broken women, this is kind of off the topic though, because I've seen something and I've been seeing a lot lately. I don't know. Have you seen that Tyler Perry movie?
I did.
Did you see it? Okay, so you see, what's the name of it? Something with Grace.
Falling from Grace.
Falling from Grace. Okay. So I've been seeing a lot of posts of everyone is upset that Tyler Perry always make these movies about black women.
Mm-hmm.
They're angry. They're single moms. They doing this. They doing that. You know, just going back and forth with different things.
Mm-hmm.
I got mixed feelings about it. I got mixed feelings about it because it's a lot of black women do act like that.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of them that do act like that. And I feel like in a form of Tyler Perry, he's probably seen so many women growing up, and it could be his auntie, his grandmother, his mother, his friend's mother, and all that. I'm sure somewhere in his life, for him to come up with all this, he's seen a pattern of black women doing that, and he may be trying to bring awareness to women like, okay, this is a pattern.
Well, I actually watched an interview with him speaking about it. They asked him this question, and that's exactly what it is. He said, he was raised by his aunties and his mom, and he was like, when you see a woman in my movie, you are seeing a direct depiction of what I saw growing up.
I'm going to have to watch that.
I'll send it to you. It was so good, and it was such a beautiful interview, and I saw somebody post it, and I commented with the video, and I said, if you watch this, you still might not like his movies because you're allowed, but you'll understand it.
The ones that are going through it, they're going to feel some kind of way.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not making that movie for you. Like, we learn about in business, like, everybody is not your target audience. It's fine y'all don't like the movie. It's not for y'all. It's for the people who love
some
it.
of them, like, they can reflect on that, like, dang, this is me.
Right.
You know, it's not for everybody. But at the same time, that shows the anger in a lot of people to a point where, okay, this may not relate to you. You may not like it. But it's another woman that could relate to that, and he's helping that one woman.
Right, but most people definitely do not think in that.
Yeah, they don't have that mindset, and it's mainly our black community is the main ones that's having judgmental issues with it.
Very much so.
And then you know I like it a lot that he does do that. I would like to see more happiness in women, more successful in women, more of together marriages, even though marriages, everybody have problems in a marriage, but to a point where they could break through those problems and still create happiness and still do this. I would like to see more movies like that.
Me too.
But the things that he do come up with, it's a reality check.
But the thing is, we don't go see those movies. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't. We don't. We do like stuff that just hit, and that's just like music. You know, we like that ratchet music and all that. And I'm sure some artists would like to, you know, rap about positive stuff, but a lot of people just don't want to hear it.
Not only that, but I talk about when people were talking about this movie specifically, and I saw somebody post, he said, well, I'm starting to feel like he just hates black men or something like that. And I'm like, we see movies all of the time to where we are not depicted. We've been watching Lifetime movies for years where men been beating their women and setting them on fire and doing them.
Yeah.
But we never said that those writers didn't like white men.
No, but I think it's like black people have issues with black people.
Yes.
That's what it boils down to, because it's mainly that's what we hear, basically talking about it, and I think it's wrong in a lot of ways. I just feel like just support
and research, like do the work. I'm reading Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and it's a book. It was written by a black doctor, female. She's a psychiatrist. And she's basically talking about that this very concept and how all of this is kind of like how we express our post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's so eye-opening to understand that we really have to make a conscious effort. You have to make it your business to change the way that you are thinking and to check yourself. When you were about to post this thing about Tyler Perry, think about what is it really in you that's triggering this? Because at the end of the day, if you don't want to see the movie, just don't see the movie
and make you feel that way, you know. That's crazy. So without all of the extra stuff and everything, when it comes down to it, you uplifting and inspiring women, what is the name of your company?
Her Beautiful Mind. And the her is an acronym for harmonious, enchanted, and remarkable.
Nice.
And it came about because I had a guy friend who used to call me crazy all the time, and he would be like, "You just so crazy. The stuff that you think is just so crazy." And I'm like, "No, you just don't understand it because you're not a woman." I would talk to women and they got it, and I'm like, "Y'all just don't understand the mind of a woman." So it's Her Beautiful Mind.
Typical. Yeah. That's really I like that though. I like it.
Thank you.
So how can women get in touch with you and be involved in your program?
Oh gosh. So you can find Her Beautiful Mind on Facebook. It's Her Beautiful Mind 220 if you're doing the @ and that'll pull it up on Instagram. And you just send me a message. My email address is brenda@herbeautifulmind220.com. And that's it. I'm always trying to make myself available. I respond to all kinds of messages all the time. So don't ever feel like you can't hit me up, because you can.
Right. Okay. So what is a message that you could give to women?
Explore your own awareness of yourself. Most of us do not know that we are not self-aware. And that self-awareness is going to be the key that opens the door to the real you and to help you heal from anything that you might be going through. So just explore deeper inside yourself so that you can love yourself, so that you can show up better in the world.
Yes, I love that. So, thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you for coming out, Brenda. I really, really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Yes, I loved it. I'm going to have to bring you back too.
I'm down. So we can talk about something other than my past.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, girls. Uplift, honey. But folks need to hear it.
They do.
Because we all ain't who we are.
Listen, I'm not
what people portray us to be. Like, it's the deeper me.
For
sure.
What
you see.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, y'all, thank you, y'all. Tuning in to Life Her Podcast, where we help women heal all over the world. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Life Her Podcast. And also, go check out our website. You can hear our latest episodes. And you can purchase merchandise on lifeherpodcast.com. I am Yvette Lloyd, and I am Life Her. Love yourself, ladies. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Her Podcast, where we help heal women all over the world. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Life Her Podcast, and check out our YouTube page as well. And make sure you subscribe. You can also look onto our website and you can purchase merchandise and listen to the podcast episodes. I am Yvette Lloyd. I am Life Her. Love yourself, ladies. Take care of yourself and others you love dearly.